Welcome to TWD Symbolism Analysis, hosted by me at TWD Music Box Mystery, also known as author Lisa K. Hill. This is where we totally geek out about the recurring symbols we see in the show, what they mean, how they connect, and what they foreshadow. So if you're a TWD geek, come over to the dark side. We have Daryl. Hello everyone, today I'm going to do a quick video on the rule of threes and how we see it used in the show. It was recognized very early on that there was a rule of threes around Beth. Now, in general, 3 is a very common number used in literature. It dates back to a lot of early traditions, including Christianity. It's just a good number for telling stories, basically. So, for example, if you have a character who's on an adventure and they're trying to accomplish something, chances are they're going to fail 3 times or fail twice and finally succeed on the 3rd time. It's just a very common template for storytelling. So it's not surprising that The Walking Dead would use this one way or the other. But we do notice it around Beth a lot, and personally, I think that because she is a Christic figure, they're using the Christian version of this. And in Christianity, Christ was resurrected on the 3rd day. So I think we see the rule of threes around her in order to foreshadow the fact that she'll be resurrected at some point. Some of the threes we've seen around her include the fact that she was the 3rd child in the Green family. Her 3 major arcs that we saw that revolved specifically around her were her suicide arc, her time on the road with Daryl, and then, of course, Grady Hospital. When she was on the road with Daryl, they were in 3 major places: the golf club, the Moonshine Shack, and then the funeral home. She saved 3 people, Daryl emotionally, and then Carol and Noah physically. At Grady, she was responsible either directly or indirectly for 3 deaths. They were Gorman, O'Donnell, and Dawn. In season 3, she sang 3 different songs. In both seasons 4 and 5, there were 3 major episodes that revolved around her or her arc. She also became the 3rd person to wear the sheriff's hat after Rick and Carl. Some instances of this that we see at Grady are that there are 3 figures in the picture that Edwards shows her, the painting. He compares himself to Peter, who denied Christ 3 times. And then, of course, Christ rose after 3 days. Beth has 3 battle scars on her face from when Dawn beat her. It is believed, assuming that we're right and she's alive, that she will survive the fall of 3 communities: the farm, the prison, and then Grady. She's had 3 love interests. There was Jimmy in season 2, Zach in season 4, and Daryl is the 3rd. The clip of her running in the opening credits actually shows her plus at least 2 others. It's really hard to tell for sure because that clip is fluid and blurry and it's hard to make things out, but there's one person wearing a dark or black shirt and you see their arm very clearly at one point. It has been theorized that this might be Daryl. The other person looks like they're wearing scrubs, and to me it's always looked like it could be Noah, but of course we don't know for sure. Coda has 3 meanings. Honestly, you can find about 1,000 different meanings for coda, but these 3 in particular seem to apply to Beth's arc. It's the ending of something, usually of a part rather than a whole. And certainly the episode Coda was the end of her arc for a while on the show. The end of something that is independent of the rest of the story. And that's important because Grady was not a part of the main story. Everybody else in the group came back together at Terminus and stayed together after that for the most part, right? They were always together. She was the only one that was kind of off to one side doing her own thing. So it was the end of something that is independent of the rest of the story, but that doesn't mean her story won't join with the main one at some point. And it can also mean a trick ending. And for the record, guys, usually when you have a coda sign in music, it is there to show whoever is playing or singing the music to skip over the next section and go to the next coda sign where it will pick up again. So having her episode called Coda and saying that it represented the end is probably not the most correct interpretation anyway. It just showed that she was going to skip over the next several seasons and not be in them, but then her storyline would merge with the main one at some future point. I believe that this series as a whole was divided into 3 parts. Gimple has said more than once that he has through season 15 figured out. Beth was in 1 through 5, and yes, I know she wasn't in season 1, but I mean, she was in the first portion, which comprised 1 through 5, starting with season 2, so she was in the vast majority of 1 through 5. She skipped over, well, halfway through 5, until season 10, and I believe that we'll see her either in the finale or very early in season 11, and then she will be in the final third, which is the final 5 seasons as well. So anyway, that was a little bit of a tangent from the rule of threes, but once again, if he had 15 seasons planned, he's divided them into 3s, and we'll see her for the first part, and then you hit the coda, she skips over to the 3rd part. That's what I think that they're going for. All right, that's about all I have to say about the rule of threes. We just see it really, really often. And this way, if you see in one of my theories or posts that I say rule of threes, this is what I'm talking about. And often it doesn't mean a whole lot on its own. If I just kind of point at something and yell rule of threes, there's not anything super deep you should be interpreting about that. Just know that we've seen this very, very often, and we believe it points to her resurrection eventually, and also structure of the 15 seasons being divided into 3 parts. So I hope that's helpful, and I will see you in the next video.